couple things just with our schedule, kind of like it was a week ago, where players are in today with film and workouts. I said this after the game yesterday, and I thought there were a lot of good things, in the win. Some things certainly we can clean up on, the penalties and some of the mistakes, but it's always a lot easier to do after you have a win like that on the road. And we kind of point, a couple days in, our energies and our efforts towards Minnesota. I think we came out of the game fairly healthy. We'll have more on our injuries Wednesday after practice, but with that, any questions?
Sean, can you talk about making the playoffs this year and what that means to you guys to have another goal checked off your list?
Well, I think number one, you want to play well enough during the year to get in the postseason. We have high goals, and we have high aspirations, and certainly that's one of them. With 3 games left, though, there's still a lot at stake in regards to positioning yourself for the playoffs, and I think that's where the focus has been. But it starts with, and we always start with making the playoffs, winning your division, and then putting yourselves in the best position to play well in the playoffs.
Sean, I know you guys don't have the turnover numbers to show in comparison to the Super Bowl year, but the two defenses seem to be similar in that they're coming up with big plays when you need them, like with Jolan's stop at the end of the game yesterday.
Well, that was significant. It really comes down to one play, almost like a 2-point play to win or lose the game. The play before was a good play by Tracy, in a blitz coverage that we were in. And then, you always get mindful or somewhat nervous when a player like Locker is out of the pocket and looking to create a play. I thought we did a good job in coverage with our scramble drill and the rules that we use. But I do think opportunistic-wise, I think at the stretch when we had the bye, we really challenged our team to do a better job with the turnovers, both offensively, protecting the football, defensively, taking it away. And it's been a point of emphasis for us, and we'll continue these remaining 3 games and then into the postseason.
If you look at different points this year, the Atlanta game in Atlanta where you had the 4th down stop, it seems like the defense really gets up for the ultimate challenge kind of situations. Have you seen that this year?
Absolutely. I think what you look for from your team is when the game's on the line, you want players that want to be in that position, and certainly our players on defense feel that way, and those have been big stops that you're talking about. And you don't know each game how it's going to unfold, whether it sits with a key stop or whether you have to come up with a drive late in the game. It could be a number of things that you're looking for, and you prepare to be ready for those moments.
How much did the defensive approach change, Sean, with Locker coming in?
I changed a little. I think the type of quarterback that we saw in Hasselbeck is different than Jake in that, one of them with his experience, Matt does a great job from the pocket and is a guy that has been in this league and won a lot of football games. With Locker, you've got a younger player who's a threat to run, who's more mobile, and now he made some big plays from the pocket, but they're different, and so that I don't know that it changed necessarily what we were calling, but certainly when that injury took place, the emphasis of trying to contain and keep him in the pocket and avoid some of the scrambles as best we could was something that I know was discussed, at halftime and even prior to that.
What was when the decision to keep Jimmy playing, and did he have to have like an MRI this morning on the back? Or?
Well, there was no decision to keep him playing. Basically, if you can follow this, an hour and a half before the game, we turn in our inactives. We had an additional spot with Cedric's hamstring. We felt going in Cedric was going to be able to play, and then during pregame, it was aggravated and it didn't feel strong enough where he or the doctors or ourselves felt like he was going to be able to play and play well on it. So with that additional spot, we just discussed a few different options and ended up going the tight end route with Higgins, and that was just coincidence. And 10 minutes later, Jimmy irritated his back really during warm-ups and came in and got treatment. And it was really just a rush to get him to where it was calmed down enough to where he could function. And fortunately, the doctors and trainers were able to do that. And I think early on in that first quarter, you could see that, it wasn't 100%. And then gradually as the game went on, he felt more and more comfortable. Today he's getting treatment, and really that's it. But it was one of those, and anybody who's had back pains or occasionally, stepped the wrong way, I would kind of equate it to that. And so we were lucky. We were lucky that he was able to bounce back.
How much do you feel, it's probably something you're not thinking about now, but as far as, people who follow the team, third playoff spot clinched in a row, third consecutive season of double-digit wins never happened with this franchise. I mean, put in perspective the program you're building here, and I mean, it started obviously early, but you beat the Super Bowl as a peak, but it continues to build.
I think there's a time when we'll look back and reflect on, but I think we're right in the middle of trying to do something and accomplish something that's more than just one season or one playoff appearance. And it's hard to do. It's hard to win in this league. It's hard to win on the road in this league. And I think one of the bigger challenges teams face in this league is that consistency of year in and year out, being a functional organization that can win and can handle change. And I think that that's something that is a work in progress. We've still got a lot of goals and expectations ahead of us, but it's exciting to be in the postseason contention and to have these opportunities. I mean, it's really why you work so hard in the off season and your preparation. The players put in the time in the weight room and all the extra hours that go into preparation. The coaches, the scouts, the front office, everyone involved in the building is to win and to win and to win. And really in our industry, that's what's most important. And if you don't, you're not around long. So, I think, a handful of things happened yesterday that were positive in that, the team we're chasing now lost a game. Our division, Atlanta stayed the par with us with a win, and then with, I guess, the Chicago loss that secured a playoff spot. So, you're at that point with 4 games left yesterday, now 3 games left where, so much is happening and being settled. And it always seems to be exciting in December in our league, and that's it's exciting to be in the discussion.
Sean, can you talk about the kind of team it takes to overcome a number of penalties, can't quite get into a rhythm, but still win on the road against a team that's in a playoff hunt as well?
Well, I think the trick is finding a way to win, and we've had some good performances of late. We did some real good things against Detroit, and we did some real good things against the Giants. And when maybe you aren't as sharp and you're still able to battle back and come up with enough plays to still win a game on the road against a good football team who's played real well, that's encouraging. And so I think there's some things you can draw from that and build from that. I said yesterday to the players, it's kind of a gut check win. You as the course of the season unfolds, you do develop character and you develop an expectation and a confidence, and that does not carry over from last year's team or the year before's team. This is a different team, and you have to find a way sometimes in games maybe where you don't play as well to still come up with the most important statistic, and that's the win. And I think yesterday we were able to do that. There's a lot that we have to work on and clean up, and I think our players understand that, and we'll begin that process. But it's hard to win on the road in this league, and it's when you're able to do that, especially this late in the year with these games mattering and meaning so much, it's encouraging.
You mentioned San Francisco losing yesterday. How much do y'all pay attention to that from here on out?
Well, I think typically if you asked, it would be plane ride discussion on the way home. It would be, I think our whole league would be focused as to what happened today. And there's always a couple games that are more important. They usually are divisional games or games within the NFC for us. And I think that discussion all begins to happen in December. And, I could tell you, we don't pay any attention to it, and, that wouldn't be true. I mean, but it doesn't really begin to take place until December. And we do, by the time Wednesday comes around, though, refocus as to what's most important, and that is how we play, and then, get those scores leaving the locker rooms or when the game's over.
Did you read the report from, I think Nate Washington mentioned something about he thought he heard whistles from your sideline? Did you read that?
I was asked that question this morning, and so I kind of thought I was going to get asked that in this press conference. And listen, I'm glad you asked. All right? It's not often I say that, but I'm glad you asked. I've got 3 theories on the whistle theory. I think I've got the answer. There is a high school field nearby, and they were playing a game while our game was going on, so I thought maybe it was the high school whistle we heard. We weren't in Memphis. We were in Nashville, and so I saw a guy dressed in black, and it looked like Johnny Cash, and maybe, he was blowing a whistle in the crowd. But I figured out, I really think Whistle Monster, who is famous in these parts.
Right.
Absolutely. This is Whistle Monster. He's a famous Houdat Saints fan. And so high school football game, Johnny and June Cash, Whistle Monster. I'm going to go with Whistle Monster. I think he was there helping us any way he could. He got a little press here, so I think that's my answer.
Can I get him on the phone to double
Check with Whistle Monster. He might have done it. So we're ready. Anything else?
This is a little bit off the Saints topic, but as a football coach in the NFL, Tim Tebow 7-1 as a starter. Do you find yourself watching him a little more, or rooting for him, or how do y'all kind of deal with it? It's kind of it's an interesting national NFL.
I think it is. I think it's great for our game, and I personally am more excited about it because I'm close friends with John Fox and Dennis Allen, and so we have some ties to that staff. And Joe Vitt's son-in-law is the quarterback coach for that staff, and so there's a bunch of ties to the Broncos, and to see them doing well and to see Tim Tebow doing well, I think is good for our game. Each week, it's changed the opponent, and the script ends up kind of being the same, and it's a great example of a belief in not only one player, really, a belief in a team, because they're playing better on defense, they're rushing the football well, and certainly Tim's been a big contribution to that. But a team that's playing with a lot of belief and a lot of energy, and I think as they go into each game, they feel like they've got a chance to win if they don't make those mistakes, and I think it's exciting.
Do you find yourself checking on his scores or going home and watching his highlights, or?
No, it seems like in the AFC, and like we were just talking about earlier, that it wouldn't be. I'm not going to have to check on a score because I'm probably going to read or see it. It's going to be covered, but it's exciting. Our league's exciting that way, and I think every year there's one of 32 or more than one of 32 great stories that unfold, and I think that's what makes our game so much better than everyone else's.
Sean, the success that you guys have had over the last 3 years, there's starting to be an expectation among the fans in the building here, also with your players. Are those expectations good, that the double-digit wins in the playoffs?
Absolutely. I think that that was the goal, 6 years ago, of changing a culture and changing a mindset and changing, what guys like Whistle Monster think of their team. And so the expectation level is high, and the stakes are high, and that's okay. We embrace that.
Can you talk about Della Puente, the job he's done, and Cam Jordan, great. I mean, he's done some things quietly, but a good job.
We've had some good young players and some guys we've acquired that have played big roles for us this year. And De La Puente quietly is number one. He's a smart player, and so from the mental aspect of doing his job, he's really jumped in and handled it well. He's quick. He's a guy that can get on his block and sustain leverage, and is really fit in and handle that starter's role well. Cam Jordan as a rookie is provided us strength. He's a powerful player at end. He plays a position oftentimes in the base defense that isn't necessarily conducive to sacks, but certainly is a guy that has given us both the run and the pass defensive stops we're looking for, and he's just gotten better each week.
How does the defensive game plan change going against rookies?
Against rookies?
Yeah.
Quarterback, okay. Well, I think depending on the quarterback you're seeing, and I think a little bit goes back to the question that was asked earlier, Hasselbeck, when he goes down with an injury and enter a guy like Jake Locker, we just got to make sure we were prepared that he's a guy that can move and run and beat you with his feet, and so the contain becomes an important element of your pass rush and not allowing him outside the pocket. Those are some little things. I think it would be more style of play than maybe a rookie. Certainly Greg would feel maybe more comfortable at blitzing a guy like Locker and knowing that Hasselbeck might have seen a certain pressure 38 times in his career, where a younger quarterback may have only seen it a few times in training camp. It depends on who you're playing.
Thanks.
Thank you.